Hello people, welcome to the channel Free Management Education. Today we will discuss about capital budgeting techniques, and this is a part 1 of the series. It will be a two-part series, okay? So in this lecture we will cover NPV and IRR, that is net present value and internal rate of return. All the concepts will be covered in this lecture. So what is capital budgeting? Okay. So capital budgeting decision relate to the acquisition of assets. Okay. Acquisition of assets and generally have long-term strategic implications for the firm. Okay. So acquisition of assets and strategic implications are the keywords. So the features are large initial outlays. Here outlays means investment. Okay. So it means investment. So large initial outlets followed by small periodic inflows, small periodic cash flows, that is they're irreversible. That is, once you have invested, you cannot take it back like that. They have high complexity. Obviously, when there is large initial investments are involved, when there are large investments involved, then there should be high complexity. They are most difficult decision to make. They are inflexible. Obviously, when they are irreversible, they are inflexible and have strategic and risky nature. It requires informations for that. For capital budgeting, for investment, information is required, and there is if there is inexperience, so you cannot make a good decision like that. So types of investment. So mutually exclusive investment, that is either or, that is acceptance of one project implies rejection of another, so that is mutually exclusive. Okay. Independent projects, they do not compete with each other, and these projects do not have dependence on any other projects. Okay, do not have any dependence on any other projects. Okay. So then comes contingent investment. They are dependent projects, that is the projects are dependent upon each other. Okay, like choice of one investment necessitates undertaking one or more other investment. Total expenditure will be treated as one single investment. Okay, so here will be a comma actually. Okay, so they are dependent projects. Choice of one investment necessitates undertaking one or more other investments. Okay, so they are complementary. If you invest in this, so you will have to invest in that also. That is contingent. Total expenditure will be treated as one single investment. Okay, so I hope this is clear now. Now comes the techniques. Okay, so the techniques are discounted cash flow and non-discounted cash flow techniques. So the discounted cash flow, it includes net present value method and internal rate of return. Here in this lecture we will discuss net present value and the IRR method. The rest of the methods, PI, payback, discounted payback, average rate of return, modified internal rate of return, will be discussed in the next video. So these are discounted cash flow techniques. You should remember these, like NPV, IRR and payback periods are discounted cash flow. And non-discounted cash flow, there are payback, discounted payback and average rate of return. Okay, that is ARR. Okay, so this is also ARR. New types of investment decisions are expansion, replacement, diversification, modernization. Okay, so these are the simple terms. You can understand the meaning from the words like expansion, replacement, diversification, modernization. Okay, now comes the core part of the lecture, the net present value first. So what is it? It is a discounted cash flow technique which I explained earlier. So it is a capital budgeting technique which explicitly recognizes the time value of money. Okay, it recognizes the time value of money. It considers all the cash flows over the life of the project as well as assigns time value to each of the cash flows. Okay. So, in short, if a particular project has different cash flows, it considers all the cash flows. Like if a project requires rupees 10,000 at first, then 5,000 at second, then 20,000 third installment, like that. It considers all the cash flows over the life of the project and assigns time value to each of the cash flows. What is time value? That is if this occurred in, if the first investment occurred in year 1, then the second investment occurred in year 2, then there is a difference in the values. Okay, the time value of money says that the present value is worth more than the future value of the same amount. Okay, that is rupees 10 today is much more than the same rupees 10 after 10 years. Okay, so that is the time value of money. How with time the value of money changes. So also it considers all the cash flows which I mentioned earlier. All the cash flows, okay, all the cash flows are discounted to the present value. So what is the all the cash flows that have occurred in the project's life period are discounted to the present value. What will be the present value, that all present value of all the amounts that are invested. Okay. So all the cash flows are discounted to the present value and then compared with the initial outlay. What is initial outlay? The initial investment which I made for the project. Okay. So all the cash flows are discounted to the present value and compared with the initial investment, which gives the net present value of the project. Okay. I hope this is clear. Then it correctly postulates that cash flows arising at different time periods differ in values. Okay, and are comparable only when their equivalents, that is present values, are found out. That is, if you invest rupees 10,000 in year 1 and 20,000 in year 2 and 15,000 year 3, like that, so they differ. Okay, their values differ actually because of time value of money concept, and they can only be comparable when they are equivalent, that is the present value. If they are discounted to their present value, then that amount can be compared. The present value amount can be compared of those particular amounts that are invested in different time periods. Okay. Then the present value of cash flows should be calculated, okay, using the opportunity cost of capital. Okay. So this is the opportunity cost of capital. Also, it is known as the discount rate. So what is that? Opportunity cost of capital, it is equal to the required rate of return expected by investors on investments of equivalent risk. Okay. So if a particular investor, okay, have two projects to invest, and but he or she can only invest in only one project. So if he invests in project 1, he is letting go the second project. So that the rate of return which he or she could get from that particular second project is the particular opportunity cost of capital, or the rate, or the required rate of return what he or she could have gotten if he or she would have invested in the second project. So that is the opportunity cost of capital. So the opportunity cost of capital is equal to the required rate of return expected by investors on investment of equivalent risk. That is, project 1 and project 2 have the same risk. So that is the opportunity cost of capital. Okay. Here it is denoted by R and it is assumed to be known and is constant. So I hope you know about opportunity cost of capital. Okay, because this is the basic thing you should know before studying the net present value. Okay, so NPV, here is the formula of NPV. Okay, if you don't understand the opportunity cost of capital concept, do comment. Okay, I will make a separate video on cost of capital. But I hope this is clear now. Up till now, I hope you got the concept of opportunity cost of capital. Okay, so it is equal to the required rate of return expected by investors on investment. If I am investing on something, I expect a particular return, right? So if I have two projects, project 1, project 2, if I am investing on project 1, I cannot invest in project 2, but the rate of rate of return which I can get from project 2 is the required rate of return. That is, investors on investment of equivalent risk. The project 1 and project 2 both have the same risk. Okay, so here it is denoted by R and is assumed to be known and constant. This is the formula. Cash flow I plus R to the power I. Okay, this is the time periods I equal to 1 to n minus initial investment. So this is net present value, can also be denoted by this. Net present value is the value of cash inflows less present value of cash outflows. Okay, cash inflows minus cash outflow. Next comes the acceptance rule of NPV. So accept the project if the NPV is positive. Okay. So accept the project if the NPV is positive, that is NPV greater than 0. Reject the project if the NPV is negative, NPV less than 0. May accept the project if NPV equal to 0. Okay. So positive NPV contributes to net wealth of shareholders. Okay. That is shareholders wealth maximization principle. Okay. This also results in increased price of firm's share. Project with 0 NPV means the project generates cash flows at a rate just equal to the opportunity cost of capital. Okay. For selecting mutually exclusive projects. Okay, I have explained what is mutually exclusive project just a few minutes back. So for selecting mutually exclusive project, the one with higher NPV is selected. Okay. So I hope this is clear now. The acceptance rule. Just you need to remember these 3 points actually: the accept, reject, and may accept part. Okay, these are the most important. Next, the evaluation of NPV. It recognizes time value of money. Sorry. So that is a rupee received today is worth more than a rupee received tomorrow. Okay, the thing which I have explained just a few minutes back. It is a measure of true profitability since it uses all the cash flows. It has a value additivity property, that is NPV A plus B equal to NPV A plus NPV B. What is it? That is, here A and B are two different projects. Okay, wait, just let me do the. So here A. Okay, so here A is the project 1 and B is project 2. So the net present value of project 1 plus project B, obviously project 2 or project B, then that is equal to net present value of project 1 plus net present value of project B. Okay, or project 2. So that is the value additivity property. This also means that each project can be evaluated independent of others. That is, they are not dependent on each other. Okay. NPV method is consistent with the objective of shareholder value maximization. That is the wealth maximization principle of shareholders. Next, the merits and demerits of NPV. It satisfies the value additivity principle merit. It also considers all the cash flows. It is a true measure of profitability, which I have just mentioned earlier. Based on the concept of time value of money, obviously, it's a discounted cash flow technique consistent with the shareholders wealth maximization principle. Demerits, it requires estimates of cash flow, which is a tedious task. Obviously, if there are a number of investments, a number of cash flows occurring, so all the estimates of the cash flows, the calculation required, it's a tedious task. Computation of opportunity cost of capital poses practical difficulties. It is sensitive to discount rates value of money. Obviously, like if there is high discount rate, then there will be a lower NPV. Okay, high discount rate means the investor is expecting more return from his or her investment. Okay, so if there is high rate of return, if the company gives away more money to the investor, then obviously the NPV will be lower. So that is the sensitive to discount rates value of money. Difficult to precisely measure the discount rate when applying on mutually exclusive project with unequal lives or under funds constraint. Okay, funds constraint, that is lesser funds or like that. Funds, constraint of funds. Okay. So these are the merits and demerits of NPV. Next comes the IRR, or the internal rate of return. Okay, it is also called the time adjusted rate of return, marginal efficiency of capital. These are the names of IRR. Okay, so it is a discount rate at which the present value of cash inflows equals the present value of cash outflow. So I just mentioned that NPV is PV of inflow minus PV of outflow, cash outflow. So it in IRR, it says that the present value of cash inflows equals the present value of cash outflow. That is, this part and this part are equal, which means NPV equal to 0. Obviously, if these and these are equal, then NPV will obviously be 0. Okay. So it tells us what rate of return is generated by project cash flows. IRR of a project is that rate of return at which NPV is equal to 0. Obviously, I have just mentioned it. It is the maximum discount rate that cash flows of the project can support. It is the maximum discount rate that you can provide to investor. The maximum rate of return, the required rate of return the investor can expect, can the investor not expect, the maximum required rate of return that the investor can get, okay, from investing. So that is, it is the maximum discount rate that the cash flows of the project can support. Beyond that, it cannot support. Okay. So IRR is the rate that equates investment outlay with the present value of cash inflow received. Okay. So inflow equal to outflow. So here is the formula where NPV equal to 0. Then obviously this equals this. Okay. So here formula wise, C by 1 plus R T equal to C0, that is initial investment and the present value of now. Okay. So here are the denotions. Okay, just go through them. So acceptance rule of IRR. So accept the project when IRR is greater than the discount rate or the cost of capital. At that point NPV is positive, then accept the project. Reject the project when IRR is less than the discount rate of the cost of capital. Here the NPV is negative, so reject the project, and may accept if they are equal. Project IRR equal to discount rate or cost of capital, where NPV is 0, so may accept. Okay, so it is linked with NPV. Okay, so IRR also considers all cash flow, the time value of money. It is consistent with shareholders' wealth maximization principle like NPV. For uneven cash flows, it is advisable to calculate IRR by trial and error method. Trial and error method is you just put a discount rate like 12%, then you calculate if the NPV is 0. If it's not, then put another discount rate. That is the trial and error method. You just put a value and then check. Okay. It does not hold additivity principle like NPV, that is NPV A plus B equal to NPV A plus NPV B. Okay, it does not hold the additivity principle. At times it fails to indicate between correct choice between exclusive projects. Okay. Okay, it also at times yields multiple rates, that is multiple IRR problem. So these are the demerits of IRR. Okay. So conflict between IRR and NPV. So this conflict arises when if project has multiple cash outflows instead of a single outflow. Okay. So when there are mutually exclusive projects under consideration, when projects have unequal lives or scale of investment, these are self-explanatory. You can just understand by reading it. When projects are borrowing and not lending, okay, they are borrowing project. When there is restriction on cash outlay or the cash investment or capital rationing. Okay, so capital rationing is when there is fund constraint. Okay, capital rationing means when there is fund constraint. Okay, so these are the when conflict arises between IRR and NPV. These are the reasons for those conflicts. Okay, just go through them. It is just you just need to know what are the reasons behind the conflicts between IRR and NPV. That is multiple cash outflow, mutually exclusive projects under consideration, when projects have unequal lives, projects are borrowing and not lending, when there is capital rationing, that is funds constraint. Okay. So now comes NPV and IRR, a comparison. Okay. So under NPV, we discount the cash flows at a given rate, which is normally the cost of capital, and arrive at NPV. Here the required rate of return or the discount rate or the opportunity cost of capital is known. But under IRR, we find the discount rate that makes the NPV 0 and compares this rate with the opportunity cost of capital. Okay. So here in NPV, we know the required rate of return or the opportunity cost of capital. Okay, because without knowing the particular rate, we cannot discount the different cash flow, the cash flows that are occurring at different time periods to the present value. We cannot discount that, discount the cash flows without knowing the required rate of return. So under NPV, we know the required rate of return, but in IRR, We know from the definition that IRR is the rate at which NPV equal to 0. So we equate the NPV to 0 and we find the rate of we find the IRR, and then we compare this IRR rate with the opportunity cost of capital or the discount rate. Okay, so next, NPV of a project declines as the discount rate increases, which I have just explained earlier, that if the discount rate increases, we have to give more returns to the investors monthly or as interest. Okay, so you will have less money for you for the project. So that is the NPV of a project declines as the discount rate increases, and for discount rates higher than project's IRR, NPV will be negative. Obviously, NPV's IRR is that point at which NPV is 0. Okay, so if the discount rate is higher than IRR, the NPV will be less than 0, obviously. So for calculating IRR, one doesn't need the cost of capital, but for NPV we need it. NPV and IRR methods are equivalent as regards the acceptance or rejection of independent conventional investments, just which I have explained in the acceptance rule. Okay, if the opportunity cost of capital varies over time, IRR rule causes problems as there is not a unique benchmark opportunity cost of capital to compare with IRR, but we can use the NPV method. Okay, we can use the NPV method when the opportunity cost of capital varies over time. Okay, so these are the basic important points we should remember. Okay. Now, IRR is popular because of its ability to compare projects without consideration of discount rate, whereas in NPV we need the discount rate. I have told this like 1,000 times. Okay. IRR doesn't have the capability to distinguish between investing and borrowing projects. Advantage of IRR is that the cost of capital is not required. Okay, under capital rationing in NPV versus IRR, and capital rationing means that funds constraint. Okay, under capital rationing, NPV is superior since the project that generates greater wealth should be preferred over projects that have higher returns. Okay, so under capital rationing in NPV versus IRR, you should choose NPV. For unequal project lives and unequal scale of investment, priority should be given to NPV over IRR, giving greater wealth. Under cases of non-conventional and mutually exclusive project, we should choose projects with higher positive NPV. Okay, IRR can be applied for conventional cash flows. Okay, so you can see that NPV is much more superior than any other investment, any other capital budgeting techniques actually. When capital availability is unlimited and projects are not mutually exclusive, for the same cost of capital, we use NPV or IRR or PI or profitability index. I will explain profitability index in the second part of this video series. With limited finance and number of project proposals at hand, select that package of project which has maximum NPV. Okay, so I hope you got it. The NPV versus IRR, the comparison. Just remember the points. It is very much useful for UGC NET management, commerce, or even the state eligibility test exams. Okay, so just go through them. Okay. So here is a graph to make you understand about the NPV and discount rate and IRR better. Okay, so here you can see that as the discount rate increases, NPV goes on decreasing. Okay, when the discount rate is 20, when the discount is 40, the NPV goes on decreasing, 200, 100, okay, like that. At this point here, here it is 0, right? Here it is written 0. You can see here 0. So this is the IRR point. That is IRR. It is the point at which NPV equal to 0. Okay, so this is the IRR. So again, if IRR, now the NPV becomes negative if the discount rate is more than IRR. Okay, if the discount rate is more than IRR, you can see that the NPV becomes negative amount, minus $100, minus $200, like that. Okay, so this is NPV as a function of discount rate. I hope this is clear now. Okay, so the greater the slope, higher is the sensitivity of the cash flows. Greater the slope, higher is the sensitivity of the cash flows. Obviously, if a graph is like this and if a graph is like this, then here is the sensitivity is much more. Okay, it will fall steeply, but here it will fall slightly like this. Okay, so here the sensitivity is much more. So the greater the slope, higher is the sensitivity of the cash flows with the discount rate, and the riskier is the project. Lesser the discount rate, more is the NPV amount. Okay, which I just explained here. IRR is the rate at which NPV is 0. NPV talks about absolute value creation, whereas in IRR talks about relative value creation. The IRR method is assumed to imply that the cash flows generated by the project can be reinvested at its internal rate of return, whereas in NPV method it is thought to assume that the cash flows are reinvested at the opportunity cost of capital. Obviously in NPV method we know the cost of capital, so we reinvest the cash flows at the opportunity cost of capital only, but in IRR method we don't know the opportunity cost of capital, so we reinvest the cash flows at the IRR rate. Okay. Now due to varying sensitivities to discount rate, NPVs of two projects would intersect at some point. Okay, that point, that is the point of indifference. Okay, and it is that discount rate at which the NPV of two projects is equal. So the discount rate, the discount rate at which the NPV of two projects is equal, it is called the points of indifference. You should know this definition. Okay. So I hope this is clear now. Thanks for watching this video. This is a new channel, Pre-Management Education. Okay. My email ID is given in the description box, and if you want some specific videos on some specific topics, feel free to comment or reach out to me. Thank you. Stay safe. Take care of your family.